Hi everyone! In today's review, I will continue to tell you about dwarf tomato varieties of various shapes and colors that I have managed to grow without making any special efforts because these varieties are quite easy to maintain and in terms of managing plants. In addition, their yields are much more pleasant to me than the yields of our usual determinate varieties. And if you are ready, have a seat and let's get started. And I will start with a story about the Aftershock tomato, a dwarf bred by Blaine Horton, probably the strongest dwarf tomato I've ever grown. Very sturdy, strongly foliated, yet quite compact, reaching a height of only 2 feet 7 inches or 80 centimeters, as if really bred to easily survive even an earthquake and the aftershock that followed. I really enjoyed watching this variety grow. The fruits are beautiful, round green with red stripes running from the center to the stalk, an interesting and unusual color. The variety showed high yields, even in spite of the July hail. The weight of the fruit varied around 3 ounces or 80 grams, which was more than compensated for by the number of tomatoes. The tomatoes are thick-walled, with a green-pink color in the cut. There is a noticeable bright acidity in taste, which even prevails over sweetness, which, however, does not prevent these tomatoes from remaining tasty. A good flavor is complemented by an unusual and pleasant aftertaste. I liked this variety for its surprisingly strong plant structure, taste, color, and yield. Now let's move on to one of the most beautiful varieties of the season, the Tennessee Suited dwarf tomato. And that beauty is understandable because it is the result of crossing Rosella purple tomatoes with one of my favorite ones, pink Berkeley tie-dye. Tennessee Suited can also be called a close relative of another terrific tomato from the same project, the Adelaide Festival. The plants are quite tall and reach a height of 3 feet 11 inches or 1.2 meters. The tomatoes are purple-pink with golden-green stripes, and there are 4 to 6 fruits in one bunch. The tomatoes weighed about 7 ounces or 200 grams and were almost all about the same size. And when I sliced them open, something inside me was telling me that they just had to be delicious. The pink lines in the center, the green tones in the seed cavities, all hinted at a rich flavor. I've seen a similar cut before in the high-growing Polaris variety, and it was very tasty. As you can probably guess, all my expectations have been fully confirmed. The taste is very good. Pleasant, sweet, with acidity, deep and complex. Despite the fact that this is the closest relative of the Adelaide Festival tomato, their flavor is absolutely not the same. It is completely different, but exactly the same high level. Tennessee Suited, in my opinion, one of the most delicious members of the dwarf tomato project. Now let's talk about the Lucky Swirl tomato variety, which, although it is a dwarf, is still quite tall and has reached a height of 5 feet 7 inches or 1.7 meters when formed in 3 stems. The variety bred by the members of the Dwarf Tomato Project was introduced to a wide audience in 2016. The fruits are fairly large, ribbed, flat-rounded, in the classic bicolor yellow-pink color. The variety is productive and needs good support, so be sure to consider its growth when choosing one. The weight of not even the largest fruit was 6.5 ounces or 185 grams, and the largest weighed almost 14 ounces or 400 grams, so I can assign the Lucky Swirl variety to one of the largest among dwarf tomatoes. On the cut, tomatoes are of a pink-orange color and very juicy. The taste is dominated by sweetness. Acidity is barely noticeable and rather appears in the aftertaste. Tomatoes are fragrant and will definitely please fans of bicolor tomatoes. And it's not surprising, because the Lucky Cross indeterminate tomato was used in the creation of this variety, and I was able to appreciate its taste a few years ago. The next variety is already known to many, so I will tell you about it more briefly. Desperado is another dwarf by Blaine Horton. The plant is up to 3 feet 3 inches or 1 meter high. The fruits are red, elongated, pepper-shaped. I was not able to get a big harvest because of the hail, but I know that many people had Desperado plants giving just a crazy harvest. The fruits were about the same size and weighed around 5 ounces or 140 grams, which I was quite happy with. Tomatoes are dense, with thick walls, red on the cut, with a lot of juice. When it comes to the proportions of sweetness and sourness, I would say that in the case of Desperado dwarf tomato, it is 50-50. They are in good balance. Therefore, the taste is also commendable. Plus, I think this one with the Spanish name is a great option for making juices and sauces. From the hot Spaniard, let's move on to something cooler. A tomato called Dwarf Lemon Ice from the so-called Nosy family, bred by the Dwarf Tomato Project. Plants up to 2 feet 7 inches or 80 centimeters tall form light yellow heart-shaped fruits. And it really is one of the lightest tomatoes in my collection. Unlike the previous dwarfs in this review, Lemon Ice has thinner stems, but that hasn't stopped it from consistently yielding throughout the season. The average weight was around 5 ounces or 140 grams, and there were a lot of tomatoes like this. The thin skin is very easy to cut, and inside a beautiful marmalade light yellow flesh with lots of seeds. The variety is called Lemon Ice for a reason. There really is a noticeable acidity in the flavor, without pronounced sweetness, unlike the similarly colored Sweet Sue dwarf tomato variety, in which, on the contrary, sweetness prevails over tartness. In any case, tomatoes are juicy and refreshing, because Lemon Ice just can't be any different. This was another review of the 5 varieties of dwarf tomatoes that I told you about today, and very soon I will continue to tell you about the other dwarf tomatoes, as well as the high-growing tomato varieties. If you haven't grown dwarf tomatoes yet, I highly recommend you do so. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and, of course, love tomatoes, grow tomatoes. This is the Lucky Garden channel, and see you soon.